It's a pleasure to have your company on this 28th day of April. The news in detail with me, Gloria Mutesi. Starting us off tonight, some of the former UN envoys have criticized the intergovernment body for not doing anything to stop the genocide against the Tutsi. This was during the colloquium on the UN and the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, which was part of Kwibuka 27 commemoration series hosted by the Permanent Mission of Rwanda to the United Nations. Ethan Tashivia has more.
The colloquium on the UN and the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, which was part of the Kwibuka 27 commemoration series, was held virtually, bringing participants from across the globe. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Vincent Biruta, who officially opened this conversation, said that it was a platform for the re-examination on the part of the international community, reflecting on the important decisions taken and those decisions neglected or delayed before, during and after the genocide against the Tutsi, as well as the resultant consequences of such actions. He said that the fact that the genocide against the Tutsi took place less than 50 years after the United Nations had pledged never again to genocide anywhere in the world reflected the intergovernmental body's weakness at the time, because there was enough evidence that genocide in Rwanda was being planned. Minister Biruta also pointed out that the delay in making the right decisions on the part of the international community had serious consequences, including fueling the denial of the genocide against the Tutsi. During the genocide against the Tutsi, Ambassador Karel Kovanda, who represented the Czech Republic in 1994 and was a member of the UN Security Council, is among the first to come out clear and say that the killings in Rwanda were genocide. During the discussions, he described how the UN Security Council had made a disastrous decision, with countries such as Britain, the United States and France refusing to allow the UN to increase its presence in Rwanda, but rather back the decision to reduce the number of the UN security forces. General Romeo Delay, who led the UNAMIL, the UN forces in Rwanda during the genocide against the Tutsi, condemned the international community for its reluctance to intervene and said that each country should be held accountable, especially on the part of the UN Security Council. Madam Alice Waidimu Ndiletu, a special advisor to the UN Security General on Genocide, also spoke out against the cowardice of the international community because it is unclear how the international community did not intervene, yet there were evidence of the genocide being planned and its implementation in Rwanda. She called on countries still harboring genocide fugitives to extradite them to Rwanda to face justice. This was also reiterated by the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General of Rwanda, Johnston Businje, who pointed out that giving a platform to genocide deniers and the refusal to arrest its perpetrators is a sign that anytime history can recur. Serge Bramet, the chief prosecutor of the International Residue Mechanism, said it was shameful that 27 years after the genocide against the Tutsi, more than 1,000 suspects had not been brought to justice due to some countries' reluctance to cooperate with the judiciary. The discussions were also attended by Professor Ibrahim Gambadi, who headed the Permanent Mission of Nigeria to the UN in 1994, General Henry Kwame Anyidoho, who was the deputy to General Dele, and Linda Melvin, an author and investigative journalist. Reporting for RTV News, Ethan Tashabia.
The Chamber of Deputies this Wednesday began an extraordinary session which will carry out various tasks, including approving bills, including the draft of the 2021-2022 national budget and other activities, as explained by the Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies, Honorable Donatil Mukabadisa.
First of all, we are getting ready to receive report of the Auditor General. We normally receive it before we start to review the budget proposal for the following year. Another thing is to receive the budget framework for the fiscal year 2021-2022 and the budget estimates for the fiscal year 2022-2023 and 2023-2024. This line with the organic law governing national budget, which provides the time frame during which the Parliament receives and adopts the budget proposals before passing it for implementation.
The extraordinary session usually lasts 15 days, and Honorable Donatil Mukabadisa says this will all happen in adherence to the COVID-19 prevention guidelines.
We're working normally despite having virtual sitting. It has not affected our legislation work, and it will continue like that to control the spread of the virus.
At the start of the extraordinary session on Wednesday, the Rwandan Senate also immediately approved the recent cabinet appointment of judges. Also in the news today, this Wednesday, genocide suspect Beatrice Munyanyezi appeared before Chichuchiro Primary Court for a pre-trial hearing. Munyanyezi, who was extradited from the United States on April 16, 2021, faces 7 charges related to genocide and crimes against humanity. Chichuchiro Primary Court in Kigali adjourned the pre-trial hearing to next week on Wednesday, May 5th. During her conviction in 2013, the U.S. court ruled that she had lied about her role in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi during the time she was processing her papers to allow her stay in the United States. Judicial matters, the prosecution in the terror trial involving Paul Rusesabagina and 20 co-accused militants and leaders of the MRCD-FLN armed group concluded submitting evidence and elements of the charges against 21 people suspected of involvement in terrorist crimes committed by the MRCD-FLN group. Among those mentioned was Major General Nsanzubuchire Felicie, who features on a sanctions list by the UN Security Council over atrocities committed in the Democratic Republic of Congo at a time he was part of the FDLR, which he left to be part of FLN MRCD, as well as Angelina Mukandutie, who is being prosecuted for forcing girls to join the FLN militia. Ethan Tashobia continues.
The High Court Special Chamber for International and Cross-Border Crimes on Wednesday continued to hear the prosecution's submissions and interpretation of the charges, providing evidence against the 21 people accused of terrorism committed by the MLC-FLN group on Rwandan territory, headed by Paul Rusesabagina. Among the defendants today on April 28, 2021, were those with the ranks of Major General in the Senalde Obweyunje armed group, which later merged with other armed groups to form MLC-FLN coalition. These are Nsanzubuchire Felicie and Munyaneza Anastase, who are charged with 2 counts of entering into illegal armed group and belonging to a terrorist organization. In particular, Nsanzubuchire Felicie was on the UN Security Council's sanctions list of terrorists in a report dated 1st December 2010, when he still held the rank of the colonel in the FDL Foka militia group. He was also on the Interpol wanted list, the Red Notice. The other suspects that the prosecution pinned in court include Munyaneza Anastase, Yamuremye Emmanuel, Nyirora Marcel, Shimimana Emmanuel, Kwitonda Andre, Hachizimana Theogene, and Ndagijimana Jacques Ritier, who was at the rank of the 2nd lieutenant in the armed group and the son of General Wilson Irategeka, who formed the SNLD Obweyunje when the FDLR split into 2 divisions. The fighters, who were not members of the MLC-FLN at the time of arrest, are generally prosecuted for terrorist offenses committed while they were still in the FDL Foka or SNLD group before these 2 armed groups joined other groups to form the MLC-FLN coalition. The prosecution also concluded their submissions by presenting evidence and charges against civilians involved in the MLC-FLN terrorist attacks when it carried out attacks in Rusizi in 2019. The suspects are Nikuzwe Simeon, who is also being prosecuted for smuggling grenades into the country, keeping them at his home, Nabanga Nyimana Joseph, who facilitated over 100 MLC-FLN fighters to find a boat and cross from Kalehe in DRC via the Kivu to Rwanda. Mukandutie Angelina, the only woman suspect in the case, is accused of being part of the terror group where she coerced girls from the age of 15 to join MLC-FLN fighters, including those she forced to drop out of school. Also involved was Jean Damascene Nsabimana, a tax motorist who transported grenade launchers in Rusizi district, including the one who launched a grenade attack on the 3rd Street and Stella Bar in Kamembe town, and Nsabimana himself was involved in a car bomb attack in Nyakarenzo sector. Nsabimana Damascene also stored weapons including AK-47 rifles, pistols, ammunition and grenade used in the attacks in Rusizi district. The trial is set to continue on Wednesday with the hearing of Hamani Sengemana, the second suspect to first trial after Nsabimana arrested Sankara. The 2 are former spokespersons of the MLC-FLN armed group. Reporting for RwandaTV News, Ethan Tashobia.
Moving on, this Wednesday, the Institute of Legal Practice and Development held a workshop meant to validate 8 new postgraduate diplomas in criminal procedure for economic crimes, the criminal process for international crimes and genocide ideology, and criminal process and sentencing. Innocent Mugabo continues.
The development of technology in general and the fact that it is now a tool for some in committing crimes are some of the key elements of this new program, with a focus on providing knowledge on how to prosecute crimes committed in this manner, as explained by Dr. Kayihura Muganga Didas, the rector of the Institute of Legal Practice and Development, ILPD. The reason we added some of these elements is to equip prosecutors, investigators and lawyers, among others, with all the necessary knowledge related to technology, since the world is also rapidly accelerating in development, for them to know how to handle economic crimes. With the use of technology, now someone can commit a crime while in Singapore, so even lawyers need to know that these things exist for them to be prepared. The program includes courses that will be offered to judges, prosecutors and legal representatives. It is expected that as soon as it starts, it will help in prosecuting those who commit economic and technology-related crimes. The world we live in is rapidly evolving, and so does the cases that are being referred to the courts. So this requires people to be equipped with special skills. So once they are given these courses, we expect them to be productive in all institutions of the judiciary. The validation of 8 new postgraduate diplomas program has been discussed by various judiciary bodies, including the Rwanda Investigation Bureau (RIB) and the police, and after will be submitted to the Higher Education Council for approval. The ILPD administration says that this could take a year to meet all the requirements. Innocent Mugabo, RTV News.
Thank you, Innocent. Now away from Kigali, more than 1,600 youth who have completed rehabilitation program at the Iwawa Rehabilitation Center have said that they will never backslide again, and they are going to set a good example to their peers while applying the lessons they got from the TVET courses. They also say this knowledge will enable them to create their own jobs. Jocelyn Muganeza has more.
Frazibo Senibamwe is one of those that have completed their rehabilitation program in Iwawa Rehabilitation Service. He has been in the center for 2 years after doing the same mistakes that made him to remain behind when the rest of his peers were returning to their homes after completing a year of rehabilitation.
Later on, I committed mistakes by providing drugs to my fellows that were about to return home. They told me that they want fuel to clean their clothes, but unfortunately, they drank it, and when they asked them about the provider, they mentioned me.
Efrazi and his fellows have received certificates that show that they have completed their rehabilitation. They pledge to be transformed people in society, but also asked to be facilitated in getting needed materials to start life afresh.
According to the knowledge that I got from here, I will go and work with others as they urged us to be in cooperatives and practice what I learned about sewing. We shall build a workshop and develop. If the government would help us and provide basic materials needed, which will help us not to move around and coming back here as well.
The Minister of State in charge of Social Affairs, Inyasien Nyirarukundo, has urged the youth to collaborate as they create cooperatives so that they may get assisted. On materials-related matters, we advise them to start working and then materials shall come after. They should join cooperatives that are already working and see how they work and learn from them. But even that one that want to work individually, we will help them. In his speech, Edward Bamorichi, the State Minister in the Ministry of Youth and Culture, has emphasized on the Rwandan values that a Rwandan youth should have, and he advised those that come back for rehabilitation. He also commented on the parents' role.
This is a great responsibility to us leaders, parents and trainers. If we all remember that being an elder means looking after the families as well as lead and give these children the country's direction, for sure we can have no street children. Being a street person is an offense. When you look into the Rwandan history, it was made for other people that wanted something from Rwanda. But a Rwandan child were raised by every leader that was there.
It is expected that the youths who have completed rehabilitation program will return to their families this Thursday. It's the 21st cohort that have completed the program, where more than 25,000 people have got rehabilitated from Iwawa Rehabilitation Service.
I&M Bank has revealed that although it was hit by the COVID-19 pandemic like any other financial institution, the bank remained financially stable since it has earned more than 5 billion Rwanda francs out of the anticipated 7 to 8 billion Rwanda francs revenue. Sam Kaliza has more.
Some of the clients who have been working with I&M Bank for more than 20 years now are happy with the quality of services provided by the bank, including facilitating access to credit and quicker services in general.
I&M Bank ni savingwate.
I&M Bank does not inquire for collateral before giving you a loan, so they can give you a 30 million Rwandan francs loan and build your own house without collateral.
I&M Bank.
I was satisfied with the service I was given here. I can never go to any other bank. It has been 22 years now.
The other good thing is that they improved IT, so you can easily get any service online. Shareholders of the I&M Bank on Wednesday met in a general meeting and were briefed by the bank's management on its financial position and strategy for the future. The chairman of the board of directors at I&M Bank, Bonaventure Niyibizi, said that the bank was well managed and made a significant profit, even though they did not achieve their target. We did not profit as we wished, but the financial year ended with the bank generating more than 5 billion Rwandan francs. We anticipated at least between 7 to 8 billion Rwandan francs, but our activities were interrupted by the pandemic, plus the delay in settling the loans, which required the bank to insure for such loans, and all this affected its profitability. Like other banks, I&M Bank was affected by the COVID-19 pandemic to the point its customers had to review their loan agreements. The managing director of I&M Bank, Robin Berstrow, says that more than $3 billion has already been acquired from the established COVID-19 recovery fund, and that another $2.5 billion will be used to help in extending the loan payment period for its customers.
And in the coming months, we plan to launch a lending product based on that same platform, where you would be able to go directly into the application and borrow very efficiently without coming into the bank. You can in fact be standing in the queue in the supermarket and realize that you've left your wallet at home and borrow money on the platform. We'll give you more details on that, but we have also staying true to the ethos of the platform, as we are keeping costs low, and that any loan taken and that is paid within a period of 14 days will be interest-free.
On behalf of the entire news production team, thank you for the privilege of your time as always. And before I say bye, a gentle reminder to diligently wear your face mask and do all that is required of you to stop the spread of the pandemic. Otherwise, God bless you and keep you. And until next time, I'm Gloria Mutesi. Bye for now.